Hey everybody, this is your girl, Liana Michelle, and I am faithfully her. Today, I have a woman on that I'm really excited to talk to and share with you guys. I ran across her page on Instagram and I clicked on the page and I went to her website and I just saw the things that she was doing with her movement. And I said, I got to talk to her. Like, I got to talk to her, Jesus. So I immediately reached out to her. Thank God she responded and she agreed to come on and share with us today. So I'm really excited for everybody to meet Mrs. Rasheda Williams. Uh-oh, what happened to my track, y'all? Okay.
Awesome.
There we go. Let's get them claps going on.
Yay.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Well, this is indeed an honor. I'm so glad that we were able to connect. Yeah, I'm so just honored to be a part of your movement as well. So thank you.
Well, thank you again. So everybody, just so you would know, Rasheda Williams is a graduate from Cass Tech High School. Yay, Detroit. Yay, Cass Tech. She earned her bachelor's degree in journalism from Wayne State University Journalism Institute for Media Diversity. So yes, homegrown right here in the city. So let's talk about that. What led you into journalism?
Well, it's quite fascinating that you asked that because my background in journalism kind of started from when I was in middle school.
Okay.
I actually have always loved writing, and I have always loved telling people stories, even as a child. I was inquisitive. Some people say nosy, but I call it inquisitive.
Right.
But whenever there was something happening in the community, I was always interested to see, okay, what's going on? My mother was the same way. If there was a house that was on fire, or if she heard about a fight happening in a neighborhood, my mom seemed like she was first on the scene. Forget TMZ, how they are the first to report. My mom was always there on the scene, and she would bring me with her, to go back and tell people what happened. So I was groomed in a way to be a journalist, but more so for me, it was about telling people's stories. So I had an opportunity as a middle school student to be part of the journalism program. I went to a school on the east side of Detroit. I am an East Sider. I went to a school called Barber Magnet Middle School, and we had a journalism and news reporting class, and that was great. We partnered with a hospital that sponsored it, and we worked with their communications department, and they would come a couple times a month, and we would work with them to publish our school newsletter. And that's how I got my start, believe it or not, in journalism, and just kept writing from there and got a full scholarship to attend Wayne State University.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. And I just want to say, just thinking or to what you were saying, a lot of people don't find their passion so early. You know what I'm saying? They don't gravitate to those things or even recognize what their passion is until later in life. So for you to find it so early, how was that for you? Did you just know, like, that's my passion moving forward? Was there ever any other ideas or things that you were contemplating at that time?
Yeah, in fact, there were so many things that I was contemplating, but they were all kind of in the same realm.
Okay.
Even when I was even younger than middle school, I always loved speaking, and I always really loved to enter contests. Even in elementary school, my teacher noticed that I had great writing skills, but then he also noticed, oh, you have a good speaking voice, you have good dialect, inflection, all these things. Maybe you should take some of your writing and enter it into speaking contest or oratorical contest. And so he signed me up. I was voluntold to be honest, because I had never really thought about entering into the contest. But then he entered me into a couple contests, and I won and represented the school. And from there, I said, this is something that I could do. And, as a child, I would see women, women who were broadcasters, who were journalists, news reporters, talk show hosts, everyone from Oprah to Carmen Harlan. And that really inspired me. And I said, this is something that I would like to do. I thought about becoming a television or broadcast news reporter or anchor. But then I realized I want to be a little bit more behind the scenes, but I was still participate in some of the speaking contests. And as I got older, I decided, okay, this is something that I really want to do, because I want to be able to not only tell my story, but also be able to help others to tell theirs. And for those who felt like they didn't have a voice, I wanted to be that voice and represent them, and make it so that people understood that people from all backgrounds have something powerful, have something great to contribute to the world. And I just wanted to be able to have a platform to do that. So people like you, I definitely appreciate you using your platform, you using your power to uplift others and help them to discover their passions.
And that's what life is all about. I say that on here all the time. Like, Jesus did not come down and go and sit with the kings and the queens. He came to the gutter and chilled with me. So if that's where he was, and helping people there and uplifting people there, then that's where I'm supposed to be, reaching out a hand to try to uplift somebody else and help somebody else up. So and I believe that we are blessed so we can bless. We're not just blessed so we can have it all. We're blessed in order to bless others. And that is the cycle of life, so thank you for that. So for the past 15 years, Rasheeda, you have been dedicated to making a difference. And you've done this by serving as a youth advocate and a mentor. Give us a little bit more information on your how you got started into that particular line of service.
I've always had a passion for giving back to the community, even as a teenager, volunteering and just really getting involved. And my mother and grandmother really instilled that in me, that, we're not just here to, to serve our families or just to do things that, only benefit those around us or close to us, right? That's part of it as well. But they instilled in me that you should want to give back and do good in the world and help as many people as you can, right? So as a teenager, I started volunteering with youth. In fact, in my school, I worked with some of the other young people by volunteering to help them, whether it was tutoring. Even in middle school, I also did some volunteer tutoring, but then I went into the community and started working with youth and after school programs. And it was when I got to college that I really realized that this is my purpose, and it's something that I'm not only passionate about, but it's something that I'm going to make a part of my life. At the time when I was a college senior, I had experienced tremendous grief and loss in my life. My aunt and uncle, they actually raised me from the time I was 12 years old up until they both passed away. But my aunt had passed away of cancer, and I believe it was my junior year of college. And that was really tough for me. But my senior year, I said, I'm going to just be really dedicated to, just knocking my work out, getting straight A's to prepare me for the next step in my life and my career. And at the time, it was just really challenging for me, having lost my aunt. But I wanted to do something to distract me, to take all of the focus off myself and my grief, and just really pour into others. So I found an opportunity to mentor with an amazing organization that is actually celebrating their 35th anniversary today, or this year, I should say, Alternatives for Girls. I started mentoring with the organization, and it was then that, I discovered my true life's purpose. I wanted to make a difference in the lives of young people. But what I really found was being a mentor changed my life. It changed my life for the better, for sure.
And you know, I can attest to that. When I really decided that the mental health field was where I was going to go, and I really kind of immersed myself in studies and working in the field and so forth, I found that the things that I thought were problems that were stressing me out, that I was worrying about and so forth, was like lightweight. You know what I'm saying? It was really, really lightweight compared to what a lot of these other people was going through. And as you said, that kind of wanted to distract yourself from your pain and your grief by pouring love into somebody else. I found myself doing that same thing. And I started feeling more and more stronger, you know, with myself, and little insecurities that I was having and things that I was fretting over with myself or whatever. I found that the more I helped somebody else, the less I was focused on those little bitty things. And to the point to where I'm like, I'm not even thinking about that anymore. I just got to get up and go and take so-and-so to go and do this. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. Positive distractions. You know?
Right.
Distractions are really good distractions to have.
Yes. So I love that, how you were able to take your pain and just turn it into a way of helping somebody else. And a lot of us can use that lesson instead of kind of wallowing in it and throwing ourselves pity parties. But if we take that and find a positive outlet for it, we'll find that we heal a lot better. We move forward a lot stronger.
Yeah, and I agree. And, you know, everyone's pain is their pain. You know, sometimes we feel like, well, you know, we may try to shame ourselves because, oh, well, you know, other people have problems that are a lot bigger than mine. You know, I should feel this way. I should feel this way. But, you know, our pain is our pain. Our grief is our grief. Everyone handles it differently. So I definitely want to, you know, encourage people to give themselves grace in those times. You know, the way someone handles grief may be totally different than another person. I was able to, and it sounds like you're able to, use these distractions as a coping mechanism. You know, it's not that you're trying to ignore the pain, or you're even trying to forget, maybe if it's a person that you love that you lost. It's not that you're trying to forget them or anything. It's just you want to continue to move through life. And I believe that it's a way that we can even honor those who have gone on, you know, those who have joined the ancestors. It's a way to even carry out their legacy. And a lot of the work that I have done has been dedicated to those people who have gone before me, who have instilled these various values in me. So, you know, I just like to, you know, let people know that, you know, I get it. You know, if you need to take off time and you need to rest, or you need to get the mental health care that you need to be able to move through the pain and grief, you know, whatever works for you.
And, you know, when I was speaking before, I was just thinking of those little bitty things that, like when lupus came up in my life and my skin started changing and how I was stressing over that. But I do agree with you, because when I lost my mom, that grieving process was totally different. And although I was getting up and I was going to work every day, I was on autopilot, because I was just going through the motions to do what needed to be done so I could keep my income and so forth. But I wasn't there. I wasn't fully emerged. I wasn't connecting, you know, with my clients or anything, because I really wasn't there. And it wasn't until I met this one client, and I was like, at that point, I was really, really low and really, really dark, and just was really on the verge of the, you know, the edge of the cliff, ready to jump. I was there. And I met that particular client on my birthday. And that was the first year in I don't know how many years that I had ever worked on my birthday, because I never worked on my birthday. I'm like, nope, it's a holiday. It's my birthday.
Celebrating the whole month.
So I ended up taking that case, and it started on my birthday. And the company asked me, they was like, are you going to be able to start? And I'm like, yeah, I'll start it. I'll go and at least meet the family, so forth. And I walked in the door, and that little person's smile
Mm.
was the first ray of hope that I had had in about 2, almost 3 years at that point.
Mm.
It was about maybe 2 years. And that was the first ray of hope that I had. It was the first ounce of light that I saw that let me know, don't jump off the cliff, not yet. And the fact that that little face needed me
Yes.
just changed me. So it kind of almost helped with giving me a new purpose of, okay, I got to get up because I got to go see my little face today. I promised my little
Mhm.
face I would take them to the park today. So I got to go. So you can't lay down anymore. And even now, if I feel overwhelmed or tired or stressed, or those voices come into my head that say, you cannot do this. You have bitten off way more than you can chew. Just walk away, run. You know what I'm saying? When those voices
Exactly.
come in, it's still that little face that I see that say nope, because it's faces like that that still need you. So you got to get rid of the voices and get up and just make it happen. So I do you do need your time to grieve, and you do need your time to go through the process. And I'm just grateful to God that at the moment where I was at the verge of jumping, God put a beacon to bring me back to say, I'm not done with you yet.
Exactly. And that happens throughout life. And it's so beautiful because it's when you least expect it, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, you don't normally take your birth, you don't normally take the extra work on your birthday. Like,
Right.
who do that? But it was like divine order that it happened that way. And same with me. When I started volunteering as a mentor, I just was a little over ambitious. I'll be honest. I took on 3, not 1, but 3 mentees, and they were all between the ages of 5 and 6 years old.
Oh,
At the time, even now, I don't have biological children. But at that time, of course, I was a college student. I, had enough work to do. I was also working part-time and being a caregiver to my aunt's husband. And it was a lot of work. But I'll tell you what, those 3 little girls, they kept me alert. They kept me just really focused.
mhm.
And I will say they gave me a greater purpose.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do something to help them realize their own power, even at that young age.
Mhm.
Because they had so much light. Like you said, it was a beacon of light, a ray of light. And
Yeah.
that's something that I want for all young people. And my experience as a mentor with that organization encouraged me to eventually become a social entrepreneur and start Empowered Flower Girl.
So so that's where we are going right now. So did you write the book before you started the company, or was it a collaborative or something that was happening simultaneously?
You know what? That is a really great question. And I'm happy you asked that, because part of my founder story, as I say, is that I never really intended to become a social entrepreneur.
Right.
It was not in my plan. You notice I said my plan. It was not in
Right.
my plan to start Empowered Flower Girl. I was definitely called into this. This is something that I definitely believe was divinely ordered, because I thought, working with these girls, that I was just going to go ahead and write a book. I said, oh, this would be a perfect thing, something that I can give back, to the girls in the organization, as well as to the girls I've been mentoring. And also at the time when I was mentoring these 3 girls who were 5 to 6 years old. And by the way, I maintained a relationship with these girls and their families, a couple of them well into their teenage years. So it wasn't just like a one-time thing or a one-year thing. It was a relationship that I built with them and their families over the years. So at the time when I was mentoring them, I also had 3 teenage nieces. And, I said, I want to write a book to help them through the challenges that they may be facing,
Mm-hmm.
and, something to encourage them that even when things get hard, to keep going because you have a greater purpose in life. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna write this book, but then I kind of put it on pause. Life happened, things got in the way, but also I was just busy. I
Mm-hmm.
mentioned that I was a senior in college, and graduation happened, things got busy, but I started to get more involved in the community. Having worked with the organization, I was receiving calls from friends who knew I was a mentor and did some volunteering with the organization and said, hey, can you come speak to our girls? They're having some issues and challenges. There's bullying that's happening. There's relational aggression or the mean girl behavior and cliques that are happening in their schools. Can you come talk to the girls? And I said, okay, I'll do it. And one day I got a request. Someone was referred to me and they said, hey, can you come to a workshop? How much do you charge? And they were asking all these questions that I was not prepared for. I was like, what do I do? How much do I charge? I don't charge. What is this? There are people were asking me. And I said at that point, okay, I have to formalize this. And I really have to get serious about the work that I'm doing. And I launched Empowered Flower Girl LLC in 2010. And yeah, we've been going strong since then, 12-year anniversary this year.
So give us from the book, Be Empowered, How to Live Above and Beyond Life's Drama. And I know you say that you wrote the book based on some of your own experiences as well. Can you give us just like maybe one hint of advice or a tip or a tool that you have put in the book that you possibly still live by?
Sure. The thing is, when I started writing the manuscript for Be Empowered, How to Live Above and Beyond Life's Drama, I was really thinking about, the experiences that I had growing up. I was teased and bullied relentlessly as a youth, and it was something that had a profound impact on my life. At the time I was going through it, I didn't see it as something that could potentially help me in life. I felt alone. Oftentimes I felt angry. But I did have a teacher who gave us an assignment to write in our journals. And I believe that one, she wanted to make sure that we had proper sentence structure. And she was an English teacher, so she just wanted to make sure that we could write sentences grammatically correct. And she also wanted to, I believe she really wanted to get an idea of what was going on in the lives of her students. So it was a way for her to feel connected to us. And I wrote to her in the journal about the teasing and bullying. And she really said something to me. And I wrote this in the book as well, but she said something to me that has forever changed my life, and something that I also speak to young people who have been through bullying, cyberbullying, who've been ostracized or put down. Many people may not know, but October is National Bullying Prevention Month. And it's a time when we really ramp up and try to bring awareness to the issue and support young people. But my English teacher said that, you know what, there's always going to be people in the world, for whatever reason, they may not want to see you happy, or they may put you down, but it's not because they're bad people. Maybe they also are going through some challenges in life. As they say, hurt people hurt people. And she said, just think about the many people throughout our society and throughout history who have been put down. She mentioned Dr. King. Not everybody was accepting of his ideas. He was thought to be radical. So was Rosa Parks. She was thought to be a radical. And, these people want to create change. And who are they? The nerve. And, not everyone was a fan. And, she even mentioned Jesus, like working to save the world, is like the ultimate sacrifice. And even people had negative things to say. And, there was criticism there, right? And so she said, just think about it. What if those people had given up when they received rejection? Or what if they had given up when people called them names? And when she said that and gave me those examples of such powerful people that I admire, I said, you know what? I am going to use this experience to make a difference for others, but also help others realize their power. And that's what Empowered Flower Girl is all about. So, we're a social enterprise that is on a mission to transform the way young people relate to one another and themselves. And our ultimate goal is to help them live above, the drama from the cyberbullying to societal pressure so they can make a powerful difference in the world.
And that, I love that. I love that because a lot of time our children miss social skills. Especially with this new, well, it's not new anymore, but with social media being so impactful.
Yes.
In their lives. Like, I have she just turned 14, a 14-year-old young lady that I've been mentoring, also started during the beginning of the summertime. And we had those conversations as well about bullying. And I remember telling her, like, sometimes people will attack you because they're being attacked. And they don't know how to communicate it. They don't know how to express it. So they give you what they're learning. They're mimicking what they're learning. So, you can't, like, I understand the words are hurtful and the things that they say are hurtful, but let's try to unpack it a little bit and see what their situation is. Maybe they're jealous. Maybe they didn't eat dinner last night or didn't have breakfast this morning, or, their situation.
And that's real. That is reality. Yes.
Right. You never know. Maybe it's 5 of them to a bed and he just didn't sleep good last night. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's so many different things that could be affecting this. And since they don't know how to express their hurt or their confusion or their anxieties or whatever it is over their own situation, they come here and they lash out. And
that's exactly what it is.
What they feel is an easy target. So they're going to lash out. And I was just telling her, like, but for you being on the receiving end of that and understanding that this hurts and these words hurt, you also have to understand who you are. You know that you're not what he said, you know what I'm saying? So that's something that you could say, oh, hurt people, like you said, and walk away, maybe get them in a one-on-one situation and try to have a conversation and see what that leads to. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes they do it because there is this crowd around, but if you get them one-on-one, you might get a different person,
Yeah.
And so,
that definitely happens. And when we're in the schools and we're doing our workshops, we have this workshop called Chica Chat. And what we find is typically that's what's happening. The young people may be experiencing some drama at home. It could be that their parents got a divorce, or maybe they had to move. Some young people experience where they have to shift from house to house. They're in, the precarious living situations. So maybe the family income has changed. There's so many factors that happen. There's a new baby, there's a new sibling that they have to get adjusted to. And, we call it a low self-esteem day in our Chica Chat workshops. Maybe the person's having a low self-esteem day. And like you said, they lash out on others because that's the coping skill that they know. But maybe we can help them in a way. And sometimes it seems for young people, they're like, what? Why would I be nice to someone who's being a jerk to me? But then I said, doesn't it feel good to give back? Because when I talked to them about volunteering, they're like, yeah, I love to volunteer. I love to help people. I'm like, yeah. And you don't always know those people's situations, right? And sometimes you do. You're at a homeless shelter and you're giving food to people, that they're in a challenging situation. And doesn't it feel good to help them out, to make them feel better, put a smile on their faces? And they're like, yeah. So well, think about that. When you're having a time, you're working with someone who's challenging, a classmate who's being challenging that day, they may be having a low self-esteem day, but how can we uplift each other and support each other in those moments? And I find that once young people really get to know one another, once they're able to, peel back the layers and really
Mhm.
connect,
Mhm.
then they are less likely to bully each other,
Yeah.
engage in the put downs, or even fight each other. So
Yeah. Yeah. And so I really like that you're teaching them communication and how to relate,
definitely.
in ABA, we call it relational training, relational functional training. So we find that the relationship between the functions of the behavior, and then we work to figure out how to make that work. Like,
Yes.
so yeah. So I love that. Now you have had Empowered Flower Girl multiple accolades. Like I couldn't even list them all. I was just like, oh my God, the list goes on. I need another sheet of paper. But multiple accolades, including the Kuman North America Impact Award. Let's talk
Yeah.
about that. Now, Kuman, that's the school, right? Or the learning center?
It's the after school learning centers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I worked for Kumon, a wonderful company. I worked for them for probably about 7 years. And yeah, that was one of the first accolades. I actually, it was the year that I was transitioning from working for Kumon to working for my alma mater, Wayne State University, that I launched Empowered Flower Girl. And they acknowledged me for the work that I was doing in the community. A lot of the work that I did when I was working for that company was dedicated to giving back to the community, helping them to come up with ideas uh, for community outreach campaigns and things of that nature. So I've always been actively involved in community service, and it's encouraging others to use their gifts and talents to make a difference in the world. And they recognize me. They were one of the first to recognize me in that area. So that was indeed an honor, when your employer
Yeah.
recognizes you for the work that you do in the community.
Yeah. And not a lot of employers do that. And if they do, they don't do it enough. And you also went on to receive the top 10 companies, the award for the top 10 companies for women and girls.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
now is that national? Was that just for the state? How did that go?
Yeah, so that was actually for the Metro Detroit area,
Okay.
and an amazing woman. She's a coach, and she's just an amazing author in person. Her name is Jocelyn Giangrande, and she would host an event every year. It's the Sachet Women's Awards.
Okay.
And yeah, and it was really great. I had an opportunity to network and mix and mingle with a lot of women who were doing incredible things in their careers as well as in the community. And yeah, we were recognized as a top 10 company for girls and women. And yeah, and it's been great. And we've gone on to win other types of awards for social impact and for being a social enterprise that is helping to empower the next generation of leaders. So it's been super exciting, having those accolades. And I don't do the work for the accolades, but it's nice to receive those. And that's what I want to continue to do more of, is showcase young people, especially girls and young women who are making a difference and giving back to their communities, as well as the world. So many young people have these amazing ideas to create change globally. And I want to make sure that we give them a platform to be able to talk about the work that they're doing, because oftentimes we hear negative stories about youth and
Yes.
things that they're doing. And I just want to make sure that we shine a positive light on the work that young people in these generations, whether they're Generation Z or Generation Alpha, to show the work that they're doing.
Yeah. And that's why I do like doing this particular platform this way, because, you turn on the news and the first thing you hear is who was shot, who was stabbed, who was kidnapped,
Yep.
who was ran over, who ran this, and I just said it's more to us than this. It's like my city is more than this. So being
Exactly.
able to bring people on who look like me, who are from the same areas I'm from, who went to the same schools, or you know what I'm saying, and see how many beautiful, beautiful people are doing so many wonderful things in their community, whether it's starting a business that's providing jobs or out here advocating, boots on the ground and getting it done. I just love, 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 love to see that and want to just shine as big as light as I can on it. So other people can know Detroit, Michigan, we are more than the drive-bys on the news that you see. We are a
That's right.
community that is thriving to work to build up the generation that's coming after us. And even for
Yeah.
me, because I think I might be older than you, so I'm like a generation ahead of you, y'all inspire me as well and help motivate me. You know what I'm saying? So it's a whole generation of people out here that's just working really, really hard to just continuously to build the community and share that love. So
Yeah, it takes,
kudos.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes all of us working together. That I say we need more intergenerational empathy and understanding.
Mhm.
And I know that sometimes it seems like there could be some generation wars. The excerpts are saying that the millennials don't do this, and the millennials say that Generation Z is weak, and everyone is, going at it like, in my day, we had to do, we had to walk up the hill in the snow, and
Right.
like, okay, this new generation, they're so weak. But the thing is, each generation, we've all had our challenges. There's so many things that young people today are facing. I mean, young people who grew up after 9/11 live in a totally different world
Right.
than we did, or, our parents. So we have to have, again, some empathy and understanding of the things that they're going through. Back when I was going to school, yes, I was worried about, Russia, right? Cold War going on. We would have to worry about, maybe if there was going to be, an invasion or a bomb drop, right? Yeah, that was a serious worry that we
Yeah.
had. We would
Yes,
do
it
those
was.
drills, those air raid drills in
Yeah.
school. I remember how scary that was. But can you imagine being a young person in school today when they do active shooter drills?
Right.
The
Oh my
things that they're going through so
God.
many challenges. That's why I say, live above and beyond life's drama. There's a lot of drama that they face, and they've had this trauma from the fallout of COVID. So we can have a little more
So now
empathy and understanding for them.
that's a whole
Ex-
nother fear that comes into place because you
yeah.
have parents that don't want them to leave the house, don't want them to go to school, don't want them to socialize. They need the socialization. Only way they
Yes.
find it is the internet. And then we get into cyberbullying. So let's go deeper
Exactly.
into that.
Yeah. Yeah. Cyberbullying definitely has risen during the pandemic. Um, at first, some people thought, well, kids aren't in school, they're not interacting with each other as much. Maybe bullying might, maybe it's something that may decrease. Well, yeah, physical bullying, yes, but cyberbullying is definitely something that has risen. Digital harassment, young people, especially girls and young women, find themselves facing digital harassment. Those who identify as LGBTQ plus, others who our ethnic minorities have been finding more and more challenges online with harassment and even hate. There has been a lot, as we can see in the media, just from the climate here in our country over the past few years. Just the division has caused so much. It just caused a lot of bad vibes, and our young people are feeling that. They're seeing, racist and homophobic rhetoric all around, and then they're going and they're using that against each other. Young
Yes.
people have faced, being harassed, but also being recruited online by predators,
Mm-hmm.
these sexual predators, um, traffickers. You know, human trafficking is a huge problem, and they're recruiting young people through some of these dating apps, but also through online gaming. A lot of young people experience getting bullied and harassed, but also, there's been some predators, online predators, using these online gaming tools to recruit and target youth. So, there's lots of challenges that young people face in the digital world. And we as parents and caregivers, educators, we just have to be diligent and really stay active and stay active in knowing, where young people are online and how they're using the internet, but also where they are online. Some people think, oh, I don't want to be snooping all up in my kids' business, but please do. I call it proactive parenting. You're being proactive.
Thank you.
Definitely. Yes, we do. We facilitate workshops to help parents. We call it social secrets. We have this one workshop called Social Secrets. The kids don't necessarily want us to reveal all of their secrets, but the parents and the caregivers can definitely appreciate it. We help them navigate social media so that they are able to be, more informed, so they can use the proper parental controls that they need to, but also have the hard conversations with their kids and their young relatives about, hey, where are you online? Have you had any encounters? Is it something that we need to report? Because some young people will brush it off like, this someone just being, weird. No, it could be a crime. It could be a federal crime that is being committed. We need to report that. So, we help to have parents understand, some of the laws and the policies against cyberbullying, but also when it goes from cyberbullying to hate crimes.
Yeah, there's a family that I work with also. And one of the things the mom always says is, oh, I try to trust her and let her do her thing. And I always ask her, when was the last time you went in her room, cleaned her room, or did anything like in her room?
Yeah.
And I was telling her, I'm like, I know it might sound like you're invading her privacy and invading her space, but she lives in your house.
Yeah.
No locked doors, and I was just telling her, like, I grew up under, a single parent mom. It was just she and I could just remember when my mom found my diary. And, I come home from school and she got it sitting out like, girl, we need, and I'm like, I was so mortified and embarrassed and ashamed and everything. But when I had my son, I kind of would do the same thing, not as blatantly. I'm like, I'm not going to go and take what I find and have it on the kitchen table. And we're going to talk about it that way. But I definitely would clean his room a couple of times a week. And that clean allowed me to snoop, if you will, and just kind of see where he was. And I went through his book bag every night, and just made sure his homework done, or assignments being turned in. Is there anything I need to know about that's happening that he's not telling me that I could find in this book bag? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I would go through things, and when I would find things that I felt was something that needed to be addressed, I didn't do it in a way to make him feel uncomfortable.
Sure.
So I would create the environment. So in ABA, I would manipulate the environment so I could, put an intervention in place that would kind of evoke the behavioral response I was looking for. So I would create a comfort zone. So let's go to dinner. Let's go play putt-putt golf. Let's go do this, and it's just a me and him thing. And I would have these conversations and bring topics up to pull conversation from him, to get
it's important
on the table.
Definitely.
So
and
that way
it's important to help him feel comfortable.
Snooping, he was giving me the information. And from there, we were able to talk about it openly, honestly, no repercussions. But let me give you a little guidance. Let me put my little 2 cents in. You know what I'm saying? Put my voice in your head to have you hopefully think of this a little bit differently. And even now, he's 27. He lives in a whole nother state. when I go visit him in Georgia, you don't think I be in his room going through drawers like, what's in this drawer? I still do it.
Oh,
Like,
no, you don't.
I still do it. I still want to
Son, I hope you're watching this.
I still want to know what's happening. And especially now he's so far away, it's harder
Right.
to kind of police him, so to speak. But yeah, and he
There's no need to police him, but you bring up a
because
good
he makes
point, though.
good decisions and he's a
Exactly.
good
Well,
person.
because you did a good job. You did a great job raising him. But you said something that I think is vitally important, right? You want your kids or the young people, even if you don't have children, if you work with youth, right? If you're an educator or if you're a mentor, you want the young people in your life to feel comfortable enough to come to you so they could be fully self-expressed. And I think what we have to start doing more of is listening without judgment, not always trying to fix things, but really having conversations. Like you said, you
Right.
go out to dinner, have one-on-one time, allow them to open up. And if they feel comfortable, they'll come to you when they have those concerns or when they're having those type of challenges. So it's definitely important to establish those type of relationships, but also know that, hey, you're in my house. I'm responsible for you. I'm responsible for keeping you alive. So these are some things that I'm going to have to do. And these are some boundaries we're going to have.
Yeah, definitely. And I just think that's important too, like you said, for us to not be so judgmental with our children or with the youth of our communities, to be open to hearing them, listening to them, searching our hearts for understanding for them. And one of the things I do with my son is, and I've done this forever, I'll always tell him funny stories about me and at his age. Like, I remember when I was your age and I tried to learn how to drive and I ran up on the curb. You know what I'm saying? Or something. Just those funny little stories, because for me, I think I grew up with my mom who didn't share her flaws as much. So, and there was a lot of pressure of being perfect. And that's a lot of pressure. And so for my son, I didn't want him to look at me as this perfect person who didn't make mistakes. So now I have to be the perfect son who don't. I didn't want to put that pressure on him. So it was easier for me to laugh at myself with him and share those funny stories and those mistakes that I've made and poor decisions I've made, and you know what I'm saying, and all those type of things. So he could see I'm flawed. I have made mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. It is but it's about what we learn and how we move forward.
Exactly.
So and even now at 27, I could call him in the middle of a meltdown and he's the one who's talking sense into me. The roles have kind of flipped.
Yes, that's awesome. And I think that's vitally important, especially as our young people, as they grow older and they mature, it's important for them to have examples and for us to be open to sharing our stories. And when I've talked to people who are aspiring to be mentors, or they've been thinking about being mentors, they think that they have to be perfect. I'm like, no. Actually, the most awesome mentors are people who have screwed up quite a bit and who have made some mistakes, and they learn from those. And this is part of the journey. And I think that people sometimes overthink it. They think that they have to have this amazing title at their jobs, or they have to have all of these accolades. Those things are great. However, you don't even necessarily need to be employed. You could be retired. You could still make a positive difference. You could be unemployed at the moment between jobs, and you still have something to offer young people.
Yeah, you do. So I want to jump in real quick. I know I don't know how much more time you have to give me, but I'm going to keep going.
I have a few more minutes. So just, just maybe five more minutes or so.
Okay. So 5 more minutes or so. I wanted to kind of go into what a conference or a workshop looks like when you are being booked. What can we expect?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it really depends on what type of workshop that people will book. We will offer a number of workshops and programs for youth as well as adults. So our programs for youth mostly focus on the relationship building, the skills building. I mentioned earlier, we have a workshop called Chica Chat, which is one of our signature workshops, is Chica Chat, Inspiring Sisterhood, where we really want to bring girls together in an environment where they feel self-expressed, heard, and understood by their peers, but also adults who may be in the classroom at the time. So a lot of teachers will volunteer, and we definitely encourage the teachers to volunteer with the students, right, to come in so that they can see some of the challenges their students may be facing, but also to be there to guide the conversation. But it's mostly about hearing from the girls themselves and some of the challenges that they may have been facing in school, or even at home, and to have a safe space where they can express what's going on with them. We call it Chica Chat because we really have an opportunity for them to speak to one another, to get to know one another on a deeper level. And we do this thing where we have them to ask questions anonymously, and we answer those questions, but typically it's not the adults who answer the questions, it's the other girls who give each other advice so they can hear from their peers in a safe environment, and we create that for them. So I really enjoy the Chica Chat workshop. It's one of my favorite, but we also offer programs, co-ed programs for both boys and girls, or gender expansive youth, where we talk about how to be safe, smart, and kind online. So a lot of the workshops deal with digital citizenship and being safe online as well.
Okay. Well, that is good. See, and I wanted to know more. I think, oh, you have a summit coming up.
Yes.
Be the Impact Summit.
Yes.
Talk about your summit. Tell us
yes,
what you can expect.
Yeah, so the Be the Impact Summit, I'm really excited for that. It's going to be held virtually on October 8th. And we are excited about that because it's going to be held right before International Day of the Girl. So it's the weekend before International Day of the Girl, and it's during Bullying Prevention Month. We're going to be showcasing young people who are giving back to their communities and using their gifts and talents to create change. We're going to have an awesome panel of youth who have been doing some great things as social entrepreneurs, as nonprofit founders, and leaders in their communities. And we'll also be doing a workshop. I'll be facilitating one on strategic community service, about how they can use their community service to develop their passion, but also how that can lead to their profession and help them in their careers as well. And we'll hear from Youth Service America about fellowship, scholarship, and funding opportunities that are available to youth. So that's really exciting. We want as many young people who can to participate. And again, it's open to youth globally.
Yes, I love that. I love that. I don't recall having so many avenues and programs when I was growing up, and I was born in the 70s, so the 80s of going to school. I don't remember those type of programs, and I really wish they would have had those things available to me, or more prominent. Like, yeah, I could have really benefited from a lot of those things. As I've said before, a childhood traumatic experience that I went through, and there was no resources to help. Mm-hmm. So I had to kind of navigate the emotional, the mental, the anger, the confusion, the hurt, all of that just by myself. And it was like, don't talk about it, sweep it under the rug. So now and there was no outlet for it. And I wish there was an empowered flower girl when I was growing up that could have said, come here, baby, it's okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and this
exactly.
is a safe place to express it. And you have a group of peers or other people who are here to help you process your feelings and understand what they are, and take that and turn it into something else positive earlier in life, so kudos again to you for just being a woman who is empowered, who is empowering other women. I love that. Like, I want to hug you. Like, I leaned into the
Virtual
camera, like I was
hugs.
leaning
Yeah,
into
right.
it.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
But
Virtual
yeah.
fist bump.
Okay, yes, my sister.
Yes.
Okay, so
Love
before I
it.
let you go, this new
Yeah.
thing that I'm starting with the new season is called out. I haven't figured out what I was going to call it yet, but we're just going to call it a quick lightning round, if you will. Okay.
Okay.
So just a few little questions. We're going to fire them off for us to get to dive deeper into who you are. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Ready?
Nope. But no, we're gonna go for it. No, I'm
No,
ready.
they're going to be easy. They're not
Okay.
embarrassing. What is your favorite time of day?
Great question. My favorite time of day is evening, like the after 5.
Okay,
I get a lot done after 5.
do you? And I'm more
Yeah.
of a morning person. I get
Yeah.
more things done in the morning, but okay. Dog or cat person?
Definitely cat. I have a wonderful feline named Domingo. He's 13. I am a cat. I'm a cat lady.
Okay. What was your favorite childhood TV show?
Ooh, good question. Darn, I had quite a few. I love Punky Brewster. I'm an 80s, I'm an 80s baby, so I definitely love Punky Brewster growing up. Facts of Life, those type of shows.
Okay.
There's so many. I can go on and on. Cosby Show. Yeah.
Oh, my TV dad. If you had a superpower, what would it be and why?
Ooh. I've thought about this in the past. I honestly would love to be invisible.
Oh my God, that's the same one I want.
Yeah, I
High
just
five to the
high
invisible.
five. Yes. Yeah, I just want to like because I'm nosy. I'm just gonna be honest, because I'm nosy, but also I can get in free to different concerts. Like I'm keeping it real. I can get in free to different venues. Hey.
Yes, yes, I love that. Who was your childhood actor crush?
Oh.
Who was
Look,
on your bedroom wall?
look, he's still my crush. Well, one of them. I love Lorenz Tate. He is gorgeous.
Oh,
He
yes.
is fine.
He's not aging. He
Yes.
is not aging at
He is
all.
not aging. He's beautiful, but he was definitely one of them. Yeah.
Okay, and one more. If
Yes.
you could have a theme song for your life, what would it be?
Now, ma'am, that question is now that one's a little tougher. Wow. See, you stumped me. Uh, I'm gonna have to take some time to think about that one.
Okay, well,
That,
think about that one.
that's a great question. I'm gonna look when I think about it. I'm gonna email you.
Okay, well, let me see. Okay, here's an easier one, and then we'll be done. What movie can you watch over and over and never get tired?
Yeah, that was a Facebook conversation question in one of my groups the other day. Sheesh. I don't know how many times I watched Coming to America. The first one though. I've watched
Yeah,
that
the
one so
first
many
one.
times. But believe it or not, I swear I can watch Clueless. I can watch Clueless over
Alicia
and over.
Silverstone.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes. And Stacey Dash is
Stacey
Dion,
Dash.
Sharon
Yeah.
Dion. Yeah.
I love actually Clueless too. I love that movie also. So, okay. Well, I want to thank you for joining us and being a part of the Faithfully Her community and just taking the time to share with us about Empowered Flower Girl. Do you want to leave us with any final thoughts or anything at all?
Yeah, for sure. I just so grateful for this opportunity to be able to share what I love and things that are really really passionate, that I'm really passionate about, and things I have a passion for. And I want to encourage other people to do the same. Follow your passion. You may not know it at the moment, but continue to get involved, continue to network, and you'll discover that. I mean, it may not be overnight. It may be something that takes a long time, or you may discover your purpose and passion while you're still young, while you're in middle school, who knows? But I definitely want to encourage people to share their stories and to continue to use their gifts and talents to make a difference in the lives of others. So thank you for the difference that you're making in the lives of others. And yeah, I hope to stay connected with you.
Please, 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 please. I want to just thank you for inspiring me, and everything that you're doing in the community. You are just a beautiful person. I love your smile. Your cheekbones are amazing.
Thank you.
Like a really beautiful person. And I really, really appreciate and value all that you're doing and the changes that you're making. And thank you for inspiring us and encouraging us to always put our best foot forward when it comes to helping and looking out for someone else, to step out of our own way of thinking and try to put ourselves in somebody else's shoes and do the right thing in those moments. So
Yes.
Thank you again for that. To all of my faithfully hers, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys today. And as always, I want you to show up and shine, shine, shine. I love you all. Have a great week in Christ. See you soon.